Hello dear students and parents. A warm welcome to our principal Reverend Father Thompson Kinney and our guest speaker Mrs. Anne-Rose DeCruz. This video is regarding the 11th class online admission process 2022-23. I now call upon our principal Reverend Father Thompson Kinney to address us.
Hello students and parents. It's time for your grade 11th online admissions, and I know you have a lot of questions about the new process of admission. We at St. John want to make sure that all of your queries are taken care of and you are successfully able to transit into the new phase of your education. And so we have specially organized a session by Mrs. Anne-Rose DeCruz to guide you through the process of online admission. I would also like to thank Mr. Brijesh Karia, who has motivated each one of you with his words of wisdom. I am sure this session will be very useful to each one of you. I wish you all the very best for your results and for the online admission process.
Thank you, dear Father. Our speaker for today is Mrs. Anne-Rose DeCruz. She is a teacher at heart and by profession. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree and a Master's of Education from Mumbai University. She has over 30 years of experience. She is an expert in mathematics, and much of her day is spent in running classes for students of Standard 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. She is actively involved in running an education academy for higher education for 11th, 12th, JEE and other entrance examinations. She was a teacher at St. Joseph's Convent, Bandra for 7 years. She was the Vice President and Secretary of the Sacred Heart Boys High School PTA for over 8 years and has been actively involved in the higher education program of SVP in Santa Cruz. She annually conducts a seminar for the online admission to the FYJC colleges of the State Board of Education. She has assisted a number of poorer children in the pursuit of their higher education in the fields such as engineering, medicine, physiotherapy, nursing, etc. We are pleased, ma'am, to have you with us.
Hello, dear parents and students. Welcome to this session, which is going to help you with the FYJC online admission process. The portal of the Maharashtra State online admission process has not yet opened but will open in the next few days. There are 3 main steps involved with this online admission. I will take you briefly through all 3 stages, giving you a few highlights and pointers to keep in mind while you do your registration. The portal has an address of mumbai.11thadmission.org.in. Stage number 1 is the registration. During this first step, your main job is to get your ID and your own password. So once you log in, dear students, you will get an ID of your own and a password which you would have to create. It would be either somewhere between 8 to 15 characters. It would be alphanumeric, some alphabets and some numbers that you would use. Once you've created this password, you will use it for all future reference whenever you want to log in. Please do not share your ID or password with anyone else because then your form can be tampered with. When making this password, you would be asked 3 prompt questions. The prompt questions would have your very own answers. Once you have finished with the prompt questions and the answers, you have the facility of printing out this entire sheet which has the questions and the answers. So in case your password needs to be retrieved when you've forgotten it, you can use this sheet. Once again, a reminder not to lose this sheet which has all this for your reference. We are now moving on to stage 2, which is called the application form or part 1 of the entire process. In the form, the first question that you would be asked is about your school area, whether you are within the city limit, outside the city limits, or outside Maharashtra state. Depending on which is suitable for you, you would mark that clearly. The next is the applicant status. You might be a fresher, you might be a repeater, or you might have previously passed the SSC exam. Whichever one it is what you would punch in. If you have appeared for the first time, you would be counted as a fresher. Then you have a choice of the board, the SSC, ICSC, CBSC, IGCSC, etc. If you are a state board child, you would punch in SSC. If you are a state board child who has just appeared and you are a fresher, most of the data will automatically reflect from here onwards. Once you fill in your seat number, your mother's name, your mother tongue, your Aadhaar card number, the month of appearing, the year of appearing, your date of birth, all of it would be reflected on the screen. You need to go through each of these very, very clearly to make sure that there is no error. But what if there is an error? If there is an error, you would try to correct it yourself. If that is not happening, you would approach your school and there will be somebody who would be able to do that for you. If not, every student on the same online portal can find a grievance center nearest you where you would approach the grievance center and they would help you to make any changes if required. Now students, here's a very important bit of information. You are also asked for the UDISE number of your school, UDISE. This number is specific to every school. This number would normally be got by the student from their school and filled in carefully. If you are an in-house quota child, let me explain to you what that means. If your school has an attached junior college, this number would need to match the UDISE number where the college, junior college, has given in their number, and only if the two of them match would you fit in for the in-house quota. So please make sure to fill this in very carefully. We are moving on. We are still at the application form, but now I'm talking about the reservation categories. If you don't have any reservation category, you would go as an open or a general category student. What if you are in any specific reservation category? Let's talk about SC, ST as the first example. You would type in that you are from the SC, ST category and you would need to have your paperwork, certificate to substantiate this. In Maharashtra state, you would need to have a SC, ST caste certificate from some state of Maharashtra. If it is not a SC, ST from the state of Maharashtra, that would not be acceptable. Let's move on to another reservation which is called EWS, Economically Weaker Section. So if you belong to EWS, you would need to have a certificate to prove that you belong to the economically weaker section. Yet another reservation category would be VJNT, OBC, SBC, etc. What would one require if one is an OBC candidate? Beside having your caste certificate, you would need to have the NCL certificate, non-creamy layer certificate. How does one get this certificate and what does this certificate show? If your parents' combined income is less than 8 lakhs per year, then you fall into the category which would be given an NCL certificate. This certificate may not be in your hand when you are filling in the application form. That's okay, because there is a provision where you can fill your form and you can upload this certificate a bit later. How long does it take to get this kind of a certificate? 8 to about 15 days. So if you are an OBC candidate and fall into the NCL category, please organize yourself to get this certificate ready, because before the option form, that is the college filling, that is the third stage, you need to have completed this certificate upload. Any of the categories into which you fall, if you cannot substantiate it with the caste certificate, the NCL certificate or the EWS certificate, then you will automatically get transferred into the general or the open category. All documents, when uploaded, are given a spot where you upload it. If it does not get uploaded clear, you can delete it and re-upload it. Make sure that the file is of the stipulated size so that it gets uploaded. Once you have done this, I am proceeding to another point on the form. On the application form, they will ask for your address. Fill in your address clearly. Then applicant's contact details. You have 2 places or 2 mobile numbers that can be filled in and an email address. The mobile number that you fill in as mobile number 1 should be of a responsible person. It can be your parent or it can be yourself, because the messages from the Maharashtra state site, when you get allotted a college, gets sent on this mobile number. It should be checked periodically. Similarly, the email that you are giving as your email address should be checked periodically. Now we are coming to some other reservations which are also there in the application form number which we are filling. The other reservations, to give you an idea, is servicemen, ex-servicemen. Next to this, you will have a yes and a no column. So if nobody in your family is a serviceman or an ex-serviceman, you would fill in no. And if somebody is and you fill in yes, then immediately with that you should be able to substantiate it by giving in your document to prove who in your family, immediate family, is a serviceman or an ex-serviceman. There's applications that can be put in by parents who have been transferred to the online place where you can claim an online admission. If your parent and you have been transferred, your location, your home has been transferred into an area like Mumbai where you now have an online admission, then you will fill in yes, you have been transferred, and you will be able to give proof of this transfer. If your grandparents, either on your father's side or mother's side, were freedom fighters, you can fill in yes, and you should be able to substantiate with proof which grandparent has been a freedom fighter. For the handicapped category, LD category, you need to have your certificate to show that you qualify for this reservation. If it's the handicapped category, your handicap or disability should be 40% or more to fall into the reservation quota. Sports category. Participating in sports at the school level does not qualify as the sports category. You would have needed to participate either at the national or international level. If you've participated at national level, you would have to be a winner, first, second or third place winner to claim a reservation. However, if you've participated at international level, you could have been even a participant, not necessarily a winner, to claim this reservation. Who would certify that you have participated at national and international level would be the DSO, that is the District Sports Officer, would have to certify. You can also claim a reservation if you come from an earthquake affected area. And lastly, now has been included a new reservation of 1% for children who are orphaned, especially because of COVID. A 1% reservation for children who have been orphaned has now been introduced. Any of the above reservations can be filled in but need to be verified. What do I mean by verified? Once you fill in your form, the application form, you could have filled it from your home, you could have filled it from a cyber cafe. Who and where do you get this verified? You can go to your school and they can verify it, or you can go to the guidance center and they can verify it. You may ask, how will I know where is the guidance center? On the same portal, you will have access to the address, names and contact number of various guidance centers. You would choose a guidance center somewhere convenient to you and approach them for verification of your form. If you did not fall into any reserved category, automatically you became a general open category applicant, and therefore you do not need any verification done for your form. It is auto-verified. Whenever you upload a document, make sure that it's been uploaded clear and of the size expected in the upload. Some more important points about this application form. If you are from the state board, then all your data, once you filled in your seat number, would automatically appear onto your computer screen. Your job would be to check that it's correct. If you are not a state board child or you are not a fresher, this does not automatically appear, and therefore you would have to manually fill it, which was to be filled by any child other than a state board fresher. What if you are applying for in-house quota? What do we mean by in-house quota? There is a place where you tick mark in-house quota. If your school has an attached junior college, there is a 10% reservation for in-house students to get admission into the junior college. So you would have needed to tick mark in-house quota. Now let's talk about a minority quota. Let's say, for example, I am a Catholic child and I wish to apply to a Catholic institution. Every minority college has a 50% reservation for their own minority students. In order to claim that minority seat, I would need to tick mark minority in this application form, that I fall into a minority community. If I've tick marked minority and I do not take a minority seat, is fine. By tick marking the minority doesn't necessarily force you to take in an admission in a minority college. So you can mark it and you may or may not use this facility later. There is a 5% management quota reservation. That management quota is available in all colleges, provided you have some way to use a connection and get a management quota seat. So the 3 reservations I just talked about was in-house, where your own school would have an attached junior college. If your own school does not have an attached junior college, then in-house quota is not meant for you. Minority quota, for example, a Sindhi child in a Sindhi college, a Muslim child applying to a Muslim college, a Catholic child applying to a Catholic college, all this falls into minority quota. And management quota can be in any college. If you are an LD student with a learning disability, you would have a certificate which would prove that you fall into this LD quota. In any co-ed institutions, that means a college which has girls and boys, there is a 33% reservation for girls, and the remaining 67% seats that are available can be given to girls or boys. In order to fall into this process, there are 2 requirements in addition to whatever I've mentioned so far. One is that English must be one of the languages that you had as a subject in your exam. And second, if you plan to take science, you should have a minimum of 35% marks in science, which is the passing marks. If your paperwork is all uploaded and you need to get it verified, like I said, you can approach the guidance center or your school, and once they check your documents, they would file in and then it would reflect on your form that it is verified. If for some reason it does not get verified, you can change your guidance center and go to another center and get it done. Now, in the past, for this online admission, the school would provide a book, and that book would have the details of the various colleges, their code numbers, etc. But for the last couple of years, this book is not being provided. You will access this information online itself. Since the book is not being provided, the school does not collect any money towards the online process. But we need to make a payment towards this. This payment needs to be made online itself. You would have to use a debit card, a credit card, a UPI method to make the payment. Last year, the amount was 225 rupees. This year, you will be informed what the amount is, and you would need to make this payment when you are filling the application form. Once that payment is made, that too will reflect that you have made the payment. Once your form is complete, I'm talking about the application form, you can lock it and confirm it. Once locked and confirmed, you would take a printout and keep it for further reference, or you may create a PDF and save that for further reference. At this point, I need to tell you that the first stage, which was your registration, and the second stage, which is this application form, can both be done before the SSC or any other board results are out. But I also need to tell you that this portal for the registration and the application form will continue to remain open and available even after your results are out. Please do not be in a hurry to fill anything unless you're sure of what you're doing. So get all your facts, all your paperwork ready, and then get set to fill all this data. I'm now moving on to step number 3, the final step or the main step in the online process, which is the option form. Once the results are declared and you know how you have fared, you are now able to re-access the same form that you had filled earlier, your application form, and you're able to go ahead and fill the option form. Before I discuss filling of the option form, I need to tell you that if you fall into a minority quota, I'll take an example. If I am a Catholic child and I wish to apply into St. Xavier's College in Mumbai, I do not need to wait for the online admission. As soon as the results are out, I would get in touch either online or go physically to the college, which would be St. Xavier's College, and check about when the minority forms would be out. So beside filling the online forms, I would also fill in a separate minority form at various minority colleges. That admission process takes place at a separate time, separate day, and separate schedule, which the college will definitely display either on their notice boards or on their website. You need to do that because those admissions get done much faster and get completed before the government online admission process. One may ask, so then do I not fill the government form? You have to fill the government online form because even when applying to a minority college, they would need this government online form number. Because if they give you a seat in the minority quota, it would be reflected that you candidate with application form number so and so from the online process has already been given a minority seat, and so they would not be counted in the other process, which then starts for students who have not taken any minority or in-house admission. You cannot hold the minority or in-house admission as well as try on the government portal. It's either or. I'm going now into the details of this option form. You can fill in 1 as a minimum number of colleges up to 10 as a maximum number of colleges. You can fill 1, 2, 3, 4, your choice. Remember that the order in which you fill the colleges is your preference order. So the college that I would like to get into would be put as number 1, then another, and then another. So in order of priority, moving from my favorite or my best, moving downward to the not so favorite. When filling in the form, remember that there are various stages where merit lists or the government will come out with the allotments. So when you filled in the form for the first time, there would be 3 merit rounds where you could get an allocation. So when I filled in my form for the first time, I need to know what were the last year cutoffs in certain colleges so that I can apply to a college where the cutoff is more or less matching the percentage I've got. So online you can check what the cutoffs were of the college that you are interested in. You would normally apply to a college which is somewhat near your percentage that you have got. When the first merit list is declared, you may or may not get an allotment. If you get an allotment and it is your college number 1, that means in your list, the one you wrote as name number 1. If you get that allotment, you must take that admission, because if you do not take that admission, you will not get another allotment in the next round. In a worst case scenario, if you have got your first allotment and you do not still take the admission, what happens to you? You cannot participate in round 2 and round 3. The first 3 rounds you got the allotment, you did not take your college number 1, so you cannot be considered in round 2 and round 3. You will be considered only back again in the special round. And remember, by the time the special round comes, so many of the college seats have already been given away. So when filling, be alert. If it is your favorite college, only then put it as college number 1. If in round number 1 or round number 2 you are allotted a college, say it is your 4th preferential college, but you're not very happy with it, then please do not go and confirm your admission. Just wait for the next round. No doubt, waiting for the next round is a risk factor, because there is no guarantee that in the next round you will get a higher up college. You may not. You can repeat the same colleges that you put in an earlier round, but at every round you are allowed to change the list of colleges, the order of colleges, or even the stream. At this point, I need to tell you, supposing you have applied in round number 1 for commerce stream, all the colleges' names should be commerce colleges. You can't have a mixture of some commerce, some science, or some arts colleges. Once you have taken an admission, it's understood you will be out of the process. So think very carefully, fill in the names carefully. Once you've filled in your name, if you get allotted a college and you're happy with it, go ahead, make the payment and confirm your admission. What happens to a child who has confirmed his admission but for some genuine reason needs to cancel that admission? There is a facility by which you can cancel your admission again. If it is in round 1 that you took the admission and then you cancel it, you cannot participate in round 2 or 3. You would have to wait for the special round. So how many special rounds are there? There are the 3 main rounds, round 1, 2, 3. Then there is a special round which is actually meant for people who did not get any allocation of a college in rounds 1, 2 and 3. And then there is a first come, first serve / it can be called the waiting list round, where you would consider getting an admission. If you've still not got an admission, if you had not taken your first preferential college, if you cancelled your admission, etc. Another thing that I must tell you is that if along the way, after applying on the online government portal, you decide not to join a junior college, you are going to do a diploma, which means you will not be getting a seat through this online admission process, then you must or you can withdraw your application. So when you withdraw your application, the government quota where they are allotting colleges know that they do not need to allot you a seat because you've opted out of the process. Wind up, I would like to tell you of one thing about admission based on your preference order. I'm giving you an example of 2 students, one of whom has got, let me say, 87% and put a particular college as his preference number 2 on his list. And another child has got, let's say, 89% and has put that same college name but as preference number 4 or 5 on his list. I'll repeat, 2 students, one who has got 87% and put college A. A is a tentative example name of a college, and he's put it as preference number 2. And the child with a higher percentage, 89%, has put it as preference number 4 or 5. When the allocation gets done of colleges, there is a great chance that the child with 87, the lower percentage, but who had put it as a higher preference, might get allocated that college before the 89%er who has put it as preference 4 or 5. So please remember, when putting your preference order, it will also decide how you get allocated your college. You then cannot compare and say a child with a lower percentage got that admission because that child put it as a higher preference. With that, dear students and parents, I have covered up all the main highlights or points that you should keep in mind for this online admission process. Every school will be available to assist their students with this process, and all grievance centers will also be available for students who need help with this process. Wishing all of you, dear students, the very best, both for your results and for your admission into the FYJC. God bless you all.
On behalf of St. John the Baptist High School and Junior College, I take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude towards our principal, Reverend Father Thompson Kinney, for organizing this session and providing us constant support and guidance. A special thank you to Mrs. Andros D'Cruz for accepting our invitation and explaining the FYJC online admission process to our students. With her guidance, we are sure that the admission procedure will be executed smoothly in our schools. Thank you.